Hi, Dana.
Hi, Bunny. How are you?
Good. Where are you in the background?
I'm in New York City.
That's
This
what I
is
thought.
during the
Yeah.
Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
I'll be in.
I'm glad you caught it.
Well, yeah. I'll be there next month.
Good.
Oh. Maurice. Sharon. Hi, Ruby. Shell. Hi. Maureen.
Hello.
Hello. Jen.
We're all muted, Bunny.
Okay, I'll mute myself.
God damn it, leave that alone.
I thought Bunny was the official greeter.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join in on another community chat. We've got 15 or 16, 17 people. There'll probably be a few more joining us. So maybe we'll give it 30 seconds and then we'll get started. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all for joining today. I will start off sharing a few updates, bits of information, and obviously as we go, any questions or comments or feedback that you have along the way, please let me know. So I've got a joke to start with because I have the best jokes. So I had a dream last night that I was a muffler, and man, I woke up exhausted. All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks. Have a great day. Okay. On that light note, let's get right into the good stuff and talk about COVID booster shots. So we have all of the final details worked out, or at least most of the final details, I think, worked out for vaccine booster clinics for both residents as well as team members, and also contracted workers that we work with are also eligible to participate in the booster clinics. They'll work very similarly to how we had the initial booster, or not the booster, the initial vaccination clinics. They will take place in the GRA. We will ask residents to sign up in advance, and there is a consent form, and that is it. That would need to be sort of filled out in advance, ideally. So we'll be distributing a community update letter today that has all of the details. And then also we'll be distributing the consent forms that will be needed for those that will be participating. The dates of the clinics, I think there was a slight change possibly from what I may have previously stated. So if you wrote down the dates that I told you last time, they may be wrong. But you'll get this in a community update letter today. But for our residential living residents, there will be 2 dates, and first date will be on October 21st, so a week from today. And then the second option will be 2 weeks after that, on November 4th. So either October 21st or November 4th. I think the October 21st date was originally a later date that we were able to move earlier. So the October 21st one, it will just be in the morning from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And then November 4th, it'll be 8 o'clock through 4 o'clock with an hour break for lunch in between. Signups will be done through TLG Connect, so you can sign up through the Activities Cube or through the kiosk at the concierge desk. You can also send an email or contact the concierge desk, and they can put that reservation in for you. And you will want to bring the completed consent forms, as well as your original, if you have it, your original vaccination card, because they'll add the information for the 3rd shot or the booster shot onto your vaccination card. And then also, if you have your insurance information or a copy of your insurance information, you should bring that as well. Nothing needs to be submitted in advance like we did previously, but we're just asking everyone to bring the completed form with them at the time of the clinic, the time that they've signed up for. And also, something that I seem to always forget whenever I need to get a shot is wear a shirt that is easily accessible, where your shoulder is easily accessible. I got my flu shot and actually my booster shot as well at Walgreens a couple of weeks ago, and I was basically had to undress in front of everyone at the pharmacy, which was a little embarrassing. So just keep that in mind as you prepare to get your booster shot. So those are the dates for independent living, residential living. For our residents that are in the lodge, the vaccinators will come directly to your apartments, and that will take place on the date of the first clinic, so October 21st, so a week from today, and that will be in the afternoon. So October 21st in the morning, they'll be in the GRA for residential living residents, and then in the afternoon, they'll be coming to assisted living and also into the Grove, and then also doing the health center in the afternoon on the 21st. So the same process, if you can have the consent forms filled out in advance. I think the consent forms either have already been distributed or will be distributed. I think they may be sent to families as well for those residents that may need assistance completing those forms for any residents in any of those levels of living. Again, that'll be on the 21st in the afternoon between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There have been a couple of questions that we have received about the vaccine shot as well. So or the booster shot. So just to clarify, it's just Pfizer. So it's only for those that got their initial shots, initial vaccinations using the Pfizer vaccine. And it has to have been at least 6 months ago. I think most, if not all, residents at least that have gotten their vaccinations, it's been longer than 6 months. So we're clear there. And some have asked about if you are getting other vaccinations, if you're getting your flu shot. I think originally the recommendations were to space out by a couple of weeks, have at least 2 weeks in between getting your flu shot and any the COVID vaccination shots. That is no longer the recommendation. And so CDC says there's no issues of getting the booster shots as well as the flu shots at the same time. What they do say is if you happen to be getting both of them at the same day, it's best to get one in each arm. That way, if there's some kind of a reaction, they know which one it came from, or it's easier to tell at least. But if you're scheduled to get your flu shot or you gotten your flu shot around the same time, there's no concerns there. The dose of the vaccination, it's the same dose as the first 2 doses. So it's not a lighter dose or a different dose or a different vaccination. It's the same dose that you received when you got your first 2 shots. And for those that got the Johnson & Johnson or the Moderna, I guess they're deliberating, or it's going through the process right now to get FDA approval or CDC clearance for those. But for the time being, for anyone that got their initial vaccines, if their initial vaccines were either the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson, you'll have to wait a little bit longer until either they allow sort of cross vaccinations of different types, or till the other ones are approved. And that's it in terms of booster shots. We also have team member clinics that we'll be conducting, just so everyone is aware. And those will be on October 28th and November 11th. So we'll be working with our team members and our contracted workers to make that easily accessible for them as well. Any questions, suggestions, feedback, recommendations about the booster clinics? All right. I know that some of our residents, some of you possibly, have already received a booster dose or additional 3rd dose. If you have received it and you haven't yet notified the wellness department, if you wouldn't mind notifying someone in the wellness department, or Dana Concepcion, our infection preventionist. We just want to make sure that we're tracking those so that we know who has received them. And we don't necessarily need that for any reason. At some point in the future, there may be a regulatory requirement that we track them. Right now, there's not, but we just want to be ahead of the game so we don't have to go back after the fact and try to gather that information in the event that we need it. for one reason or another in the future. That would be super helpful. All right. Let's see. In the weekly updates that you'll receive today, there's already a change. But I think they're being printed as we speak. Our case count of positive COVID-19 cases listed in the weekly updates is one resident. There has been a change since that was written last night, and now our case count is 0. So the resident that had previously tested positive has been cleared. So we're back to 0, which is great. And let's see here. We are one of the exciting big events that we have historically held every year at the community is our Multicultural Day, day of celebrating all of our team members and residents and the rich cultures that we have the opportunity to have here at our community. Last year, due to COVID, it was put on hold. We weren't able to hold it last year, and we have initially it had been decided we were going to put it on hold again this year. However, we have decided that we did want to proceed as best we could. So we will have a slightly modified and scaled back version of our Multicultural Day. We haven't spoken about this in advance, so put you on the spot. Christy, if you're on the line, is there anything that you want to share about that yet, or more details coming soon? Okay.
Is there a proposed date, Bradley?
I don't know. I don't know if Christy is on, or Kendall or Dana. Does anyone that's currently on the call have any information that you have and would like to share about Multicultural Day, other than more details coming soon?
I think the proposed date is November 5th. And what we are asking is, we are actually asking residents if you have any recipes for any kind of food for your culture. We're trying to put together a sort of recipe book. So if you could just submit those to Human Resources or the front desk so we can compile it. That's just kind of what we're thinking about doing this year.
Great. Thank you, Kendall, for that information. So we're going to be focused on, which is, in my opinion, a great thing to be focused on. We're going to be focused on food. So yeah, if you have recipes that you have enjoyed, please share those, and we'll put together a nice recipe book that will be available for residents and team members as well. Thank you, Kendall, for that information. There is a ton of information in the weekly updates today from Dining Services. I know that some of you may be tired of hearing about it, but just some of the supply chain challenges that our dining team is facing. And so just want to, I know Jerry really wants to make sure he's communicating as much as he can to the residents to limit the number of surprises or unmet expectations due to some of those challenges. So if you can, take a moment to read through that information from Jerry when you receive it. Jerry and I were having a conversation last night about staffing within the dining services department. And I know we've talked about this before in this forum, but just the rate that people are leaving jobs or changing jobs or leaving the workforce altogether is remarkably high right now. And there were some reports that came out earlier in the week. I think across the country, there were, I think the number was around 900,000 food service workers across the nation that just in the month of August alone that left the food service industry altogether, which is obviously that's across the entire nation, but I mean, that's a hefty chunk of people. And so Jerry and his team and our human resources team, as well as the leadership teams of all of our departments, are really spending a lot of time and energy on recruitment efforts, because it is more challenging than any of us at least have ever seen in our careers, and it will likely get more challenging before it gets better. But I want to rest or provide assurance that we are doing all that we can to make sure that we are devoting the time, the attention, and the energy to recruitment as we can, both here at a local level as well as at a corporate level with Human Good. We've developed several different task forces with leadership team members from across all of our communities. One that's strictly focused on retention, one that's strictly focused on recruitment, and one that's strictly focused on the onboarding process of making sure that our new team members, once they are hired, are having a positive experience once they start, so that they will stick around as long as possible. So it's a challenge, and we appreciate everyone's patience and understanding. We know we would all like to see a few more servers in the dining room. We'd like to have a few more cooks in the kitchen. We would really like to have a few more dishwashers back in the dish pit, as we call it. And housekeepers is another really challenging position right now. So we appreciate all of your patience and your understanding and support of our team members that are still with us. Let's see here. Dana, are there any specific upcoming events that you'd like to mention while we've got everyone here with us?
Sure. I would love to plug our Halloween party scheduled for Friday, October 29th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll have a band, some spooky desserts, and some lovely drinks for you all to try. Non-alcoholic though. We don't want to get too crazy. But stop by, come costume. It's preferred, but it's optional. And have a great time.
Great. Thank you, Dana. Does everyone have their Halloween costumes ready?
I do. I'm so excited.
Perfect. I've got mine. So I can tell you I'm more excited about Halloween this year than I think I have been in a long time, because last year I had a costume that I was super excited about. And then unfortunately my dog fell ill. And so I wasn't able to come to work on the day that we all dressed up in our Halloween costumes. So since for the whole year, I've had my Halloween costume in the trunk of my car. And every time I open up the trunk, I get excited because we're one day closer to Halloween. So Hopefully my dog won't get sick this year, and uh, I'll be able to wear my Halloween costume. Christy, do you have your costume ready?
I do actually. A couple of years ago, I think it was one of those stores was going out of business. So I think costumes were like $3 or $4. So I bought like 10 of them. So I've got enough for a lot of people for a couple of years. So yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I am excited. I
Bradley,
think
can I mention something? It's going to go out in the weekly.
yes.
Okay, so many of you know that we do an annual multicultural event. It's a big day for us. With COVID still looming, unfortunately, we're trying to be very cautious about doing large groups. So we met together with a couple of people, and actually this was, I'm going to give credit to Kendall. We came up with an idea about putting together a cookbook with recipes. And so we're asking residents and team members if they'd like to share a recipe. Name is optional, but we would love to know the country of origin that it's representing. And we're going to go ahead and put together a cookbook. So we think that's a safe way of celebrating and honoring our cultural diversity. So I hope you all can provide a recipe or tell your friends to get it to us, please, by next Friday, October 22nd.
I've got a question, Christy. Do you want a hard copy or a soft copy? Should I email it to you or?
That's a great, it would be great if, let's see, a Word copy would be good versus a PDF, because if we have to amend it in any way, but we can be flexible whether you email it or whatever. I think it's mostly if we try to change any fonts or do anything differently, it'd be great to have it in Word if possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking that.
All right, thank you, Christy. That sounds fun. Is there a limit on the number of recipes that one person can share?
You know what, that question did come up, and we just want to make sure everybody feels that their recipe went into the book. So if we're finding there's not a lot, perhaps, but we didn't want it to be just the Bradley Burgoyne, cookbook, like, what is it, Julia Child, or am I aging myself? So yeah, we're going to try to start with one if possible, but we'll see where things go.
I have a question about format. So if I have a recipe card, can I just make a copy of that and send it in instead of retyping? I mean, it'll have like stains and stuff on it. It'll look well.
That's okay. Well, yeah, we'll work through it. I don't want to make a lot of extra work. We're just trying to figure out formatting, and it may just be very creative in how everybody's is set up. It might be kind of a collage. It may not be able to be exactly perfect, so that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Christy about Multicultural Day or the recipe book plans? All right. Again, thank you, Christy, for leading up that effort. I look forward to it. I love getting a new cookbook. It's fun. All right, another super exciting topic, maybe just as, if not more exciting than food, budgets and budget presentations. So we're getting close to the end of the year, which I know everybody really looks forward to, knowing how much monthly fees are going to increase in the upcoming year. I'm not making any announcements right now, but we will be distributing some written information that will outline what the monthly fee increases will be, and that will be distributed I think on or around November 1st. So you'll receive that information in writing November 1st, and then about a week or a week and a half later, we haven't, I don't think, finalized the exact date and time. We'll have a presentation, just as we always have, where we will review the budgets, review past year's performance, and discuss the monthly fee increases, and allow questions, comments, and feedback. So stay tuned. We should know by next week when that budget presentation will take place. It'll be the first, or probably around the second week of November. But the written information will be distributed November 1st. I would like to thank everyone that has been involved in the budget planning committee. And it's a challenging process every year, trying to figure out how to make all the budgets make sense, and how to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the community, making sure that we're able to provide the appropriate level of staffing, make sure we can budget appropriately for any increased expenses that we anticipate, while also keeping the monthly fees as low as humanly possible. We all know this is a unique year, and it's probably been a little more challenging this year than it has been in the past. But we are doing all we can to keep that percentage increase as low as possible. So coming in a couple of weeks, you should have more information. And there was a question that came up. I think it came up at the State of the Business meeting, actually. And it was about masking requirements while in the community, but outdoors. So the question was, if we have any specific guidance or updates from public health about whether or not residents or visitors or team members need to continue to wear masks while they're outdoors. And in our bi-weekly call that we have with public health, we asked that question a couple of days ago, and the response that we got was that they have no updated information about that. So until we hear otherwise, we will continue to request that masks be worn while in public areas, both indoors or outdoors, in the community. And that being said, if you have visitors and you're visiting with, if you're fully vaccinated and your visitors are fully vaccinated, and you're in areas where you are not potentially in contact with any other residents or visitors, and again, if everyone there is fully vaccinated, then masks can be removed. I am pleased to report that of all of the human good communities, the Terraces of Los Gatos has the highest resident vaccination rate of all of our communities. So thank you all very much for doing your part and getting vaccinated. As far as team member vaccinations, we are also it's a little more challenging, actually, the statistics for team member vaccinations, because all communities have a number of team members that are still on the books, if you will, but may not necessarily be working. And so the actual accurate percentages are more challenging. But we are now at the point where all of our team members need to either be fully vaccinated or have an approved exemption. So here at the community, we have, of all of our team members, I believe we have 6 team members with approved exemptions, and all of the rest are either fully vaccinated, or we have a couple that haven't completed their full vaccination and that are not working until they have they're fully vaccinated, or they have their second shot. And that is everything actually that I had on my agenda to go over. So what else would you like to talk about? Any questions, comments, topics you'd like to discuss while we're all here together? Feel free to go ahead and unmute yourselves if you'd like. And let's hear from you.
So we send our recipes to Kendall or Christy? The recipes go to Kendall or Christy?
I'm on mute. Preferably Christy, but I'm sure Kendall would receive them if that's easier.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And Christy's email address. Christy, maybe do you want to just put it up in the chat?
Of course, right now.
It's a Christy with 2 I's and a K. It's a weird way to do it. KRISTI.McKinney@humangood.org. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Anything else we'd like to discuss? We are we're currently working on our plans for holiday decorations, and we have been trying to figure out the best approach this year, given that we probably don't want to have as many indoor, or maybe won't be able to have indoor activities where friends and family can be invited. And so we're looking at actually maybe doing a little bit more outdoor decor than indoor decor this year, and potentially having some of those events that we've typically had indoors, either in the GRA or in the Galleria, and having some of those events potentially outdoors as well. So we're working through the sort of final logistics of how that's all going to work out. But I'm really excited. Actually, I think it's going to be very cool if all goes as is currently being planned. Well, unless there's anything else that we need to talk about, we'll give you back another 22 minutes of your day. Any final comments, questions, topics that need to be discussed before we close? All right.
I just observed that planning those outdoor activities may be the terrace's contribution to drought relief.
Oh, sorry. Can you say that one more time? I didn't catch that actually. Say it one more time, Bob.
Oh, I'm saying planning outdoor activities could be our contribution to drought relief.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Anything else before we close? All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And we will see you all